Hey astronauts, it's me Brandy and welcome back to another video on my channel. So today I thought I'd hop on real quick and do another astrology video and also give two announcements. Announcement number one is that I'm going to be doing more astrology videos from now on. So if you see less videos and more astrology, that is why. I tend to just like astrology more. Like, I think the Mars retrograde just kind of made me realize, why am I pouring my energy into something I don't love as much? I still love tarot. Tarot's like my everything, but I love astrology. And then second is I am more than likely going to stop doing private readings, only because it's very time consuming, and it just takes a lot of my energy, and I'm all like really spread thin. Like, am I saying that right? I'm spread thin, guys. But other than that, let's hop into this video. I wanted to talk about the new moon. Now, normally I like to talk about more major transits and stuff, but I kind of figure just any information about astrology, I'm sure people will be interested in. So the new moon is happening on September 17th, and I believe it's happening at 11 a.m. Universal time, and you can look that up for where that is for you in the world. So the new moon is happening in Uttara Phalguni, and I have some notes here on everything. So if you see me looking down, that's why. I like to remain organized, okay? So Uttara Phalguni is an interesting Nakshatra placement. If you aren't familiar with Nakshatras, then feel free to Google it, look it up. It's the lunar mansions. It's like rules certain placements in a sign. Like if a sign has 0 to 13 degrees Aries would be one nakshatra, 14 to 26 degrees Aries would be another nakshatra, so basically, and so on and so on. So familiarize yourself with that. But we are in the nakshatra of Uttara Phalguni, which is a sun-ruled nakshatra, and in Vedic astrology is happening in the sign of Virgo, as well as Western astrology. It's happening in the sign of Virgo, okay? So it's in Virgo. With this energy, what we get with Uttara Phalguni is we get somebody who's just very hardworking and focused. Like in general, if you just meet people who have their sun in Uttara Phalguni, a lot of the times I've seen, because I've mainly seen women with this placement, they'll be very career focused, very much focused on achieving, I wouldn't even say the finer things. It's not like they need the most expensive, luxurious things, but they love to have those comforts. And it's very interesting because most sun placements are not like this, but of all the sun placements, this for me is the one that came up more willing to be invested in the material, if that makes sense to you guys. In fact, they're more practically minded when it comes to money. Like, they're more like, oh my gosh, I'm not paying $20 for a burger or something like that, but they would like to be able to have those $20 to spend if they needed to. With the new moon in Uttara Phalguni is what we get is a new vibration into relieving those frustrations, okay? Because Virgo becomes about conflict and conflict resolution. So areas of your life that feel like, man, this is tough. I don't really know about this, this restriction, these rules. I don't really know about all of this pressure and stress. I need to find a way to manage it and to cope and to create a more livable situation for yourself. It's just about doing that in every area of your life. So I'm going to get into the sign placements in a minute, but before I do, I wanted to just talk a little bit about Uttara Phalguni. So from my own sort of insight into this nakshatra, and like I said, I'm just looking down, what the themes that came up a lot for me is they usually buy a lot of stuff. If they live somewhere, they'll buy this item and this thing, but they really won't need it like that, or nor would they really even care about it too much. It's just that ability to obtain, in a sense, for them, that ability, that sort of sense of power that sun nakshatras have, but this is more like power over the material plane. When we get to this point in our personal lives, you can see a lot of you may be more focused on some more material aspects or some day-to-day grinds or changes that you want to make within your routine or just in general within your life and whatever place this is in your own chart. Another thing that I've noticed about this particular nakshatra is it makes people very independent. You don't find too many people with this placement kind of being like, housewives or house husbands, which is not bad. I'm not saying if you are one, then oh my gosh, this is a terrible thing. But normally these people kind of like to generate their own money and generate their own wealth, as well as maybe having other people work for them, under them, or even have a partner sort of give them money. But they definitely will also have their own thing going on. Where it comes to dependency, with this nakshatra, it may be more dependency on the spouse, which makes sense because it's in the sign of Virgo, and Virgo rules that sort of every single day interaction. So they'll want to spend a good amount of time with someone who is romantically with them. But that's just in general about people with this placement. For the new moon happening here, what it does is it brings a focus on what is important to us in a material sense right now. So, for example, let's say you're somebody who was in a relationship and maybe you were reevaluating that relationship and trying to figure out if you were with someone who could boost that confidence, make you feel great about yourself, make you feel a little bit more stable. This would be the time to undergo those reevaluations and to either take you guys to the next level and say, yeah, I do want to invest myself long term in this, or decide if you would like to cut that out of your life or that person out of your life, okay? This transit also becomes more about wanting to achieve more and create a more powerful situation for yourself, a situation in a place where you have a lot more influence and control over the things that you want in your life. This new moon can also deal with feelings of self-worth and value, as well as a struggle to express vulnerability, more so than expressing anger and frustration, because this is a sun-ruled nakshatra, so it's less vulnerable, more fiery, okay? So that's another theme that we can be dealing with at this time. Other things have to do with making huge moves in order to gain more opportunities for yourself, whether that's employment, whether that's romantic, whatever reason you would want to gain an opportunity. It also becomes about feeling the strong desire to just move on and get to a higher place, a higher level. Just it becomes about elevation of just status and happiness, personal happiness for yourself. But mainly, this is the focus becomes more material with this nakshatra placement, is what I've noticed. And lastly, what happens with this nakshatra placement, and this happens with all sun-ruled nakshatra placements, is this frustration with authority or people in positions of power. So there's a lot of built up of hostility towards people who are acting in a manner where they are taking advantage of their role and position, and they're just not doing a good job, where they're not being a good leader, where they're not fulfilling the role that they signed up for. So this position can make you feel as if you are feeling the burden of the people in power, like their decisions are directly affecting you and your ability to get ahead and to have a fair shot or to have more opportunities. So that becomes a part of this nakshatra's narrative as well. And obviously, because this is in the sign places of Virgo, it becomes about feeling out those conflicts, being able to come to a resolution and solving things, as I mentioned before. That's basically what Virgo wants to do, and with the sun being ruled with intelligence and having to do with an ability to remember and put things together. Like it has to do with like having bright ideas, just a clarity of thought. You can have a sense of clarity with this new moon. Let us get on to these sign placements, and I usually go by rising sign, but you can apply this to your moon or your sun, whatever you feel you connect with the most. Aries sun, moon, and rising, as I said before. For Aries, we have a new opportunity to change your diet, your workout routine, work on a new project, or change how your scheduling is. Usually Uttara Phalguni in this house, which is your 6th house, will focus more on the physical body and making improvements in that area and create an appearance or a daily routine in which you will be more satisfied with. Especially when we're giving Mars retrograde in Ashwini, and Ashwini has to do with beautification. As I mentioned before in my Mars and I think it was Aries or Mars retrograde video, this can make you feel more competitive as well as ambitious. It becomes about sort of like wiping out the competition in your life, doing your best to stand above colleagues, co-workers, making sure that you are a good leader and you are showing people a good example and how to fulfill their duties in a competent manner. This can also be great for looking for jobs. You can find yourself having a new job opportunity or just be in another competitive situation or just having to deal with more conflict. As I said, this deals with more clarity of thought. So if there is some conflict that arises, then you can best be sure, or you can be sure, best be sure, you can be sure that you'll be able to deal with it and take on it more. In terms of romance, this can sort of mean romanticness in a co-worker space environment or with a boss. I don't know, guys. I don't know what you guys are doing, or underling, or whatever you guys are up to. I'm not here to judge. I just mention it because Uttara Phalguni does have that investment in romantic relationships, as well as all sun ruled nakshatras have this very close connection to sexuality and romance. For Taurus, this is happening in your 5th house, and because Uttara Phalguni is related to creativity, especially of a sexual nature, you can find yourself, you know, maybe more focused in that area of romance, possibly a new romantic partner coming in, or maybe in something that just gets you excited, okay? If you have any creative talents, you'll be inspired to make something or push towards hobbies in which you can gain attention or which you can gain praise for your skills or creative works. Like I said, in terms of areas of love life, it can make you focus sort of on looking for a new person, or if you're not single, maybe you want to just focus on the romantic connection that you have with your partner more. But at the same time, because this is Uttara Phalguni, it's gonna bring a little bit of frustration in that area for some of you guys. Only because, like I said before, it's better at expressing its feelings through anger than vulnerability with this nakshatra placement. Not to say that they are not able to do so, they can. And they just feel a little bit uncomfortable with this placement. I mean, this nakshatra in itself, as well as other people who are ruled by that, they're more likely to show their worry by being like, why are you doing that? Da, 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 da. You know what I'm talking about, but it's just how they are. But they are usually very good-hearted people. But in general, like I said, what this is going to do for you guys is it's going to, maybe you want to express some frustrations you have with your partner or with your love life, and you just need that shoulder to lean on. So you could be actually just leaning on the shoulder of a friend and then saying, oh man, love is tough. Dating's tough. Okay. Other than that, this can also bring some people being personally involving themselves in your dating life. So Gemini, this is in your 4th house, and you'll want to connect more with your children if you have any children, or the people you live with or in your home environment, or even childhood friends. This can bring about more interest in having more luxury items in your home. It doesn't necessarily have to be luxury, but just beautifying your home in a sense. I don't even know how to explain that with this placement, but Uttara Phalguni likes things that are I don't know, just make them feel good. So just bringing things into the home that you want, that make you feel good, that you value, okay? They're just like, okay, I want a new TV. Let me get a new TV. It doesn't have to be a luxurious TV. It's just saying, I want to bring something in my home that just makes me feel good, makes me happy, makes me safe. I like this item. Here's some perfume. Here's some lotion. I just want to bring stuff into my home. So this new moon does that in particularly. Uttara Phalguni also has restorative qualities, so this becomes about, like I said, beautifying your home. Like if you need something to be repaired, if you need something to be cleaned, if you need something to be fixed, this is about time to create duties, rules, regulations around that. Like maybe you're splitting up household chores to make sure everything gets done on time, or maybe you're allocating duties towards other people in the house, and you're saying, okay, well, you do this on this day and you do that on that day, in order to have like this restorative quality where you're like, okay, everything's running in a good manner, and now everything's clean and everything's looking beautiful and everything just seems nice. Okay, it could be like, I need to give the kitchen a good scrub. I need to, wash these windows. They haven't been washed in a while. Whatever it is, Uttara Phalguni definitely becomes very restorative, as well as it becomes about protecting what is yours. A lot of sun placements have this theme of someone like coming to take what belongs to them. Okay, so this can have to do with maybe somebody is admiring something about your home, and maybe you see that maybe they have a lingering eye as well. For the worst case scenario, this could be like a home invasion. Hopefully it doesn't come to that for most of you. And lastly, it creates a scenario where you may even want to leave a home behind, or you may be forced to leave a home behind in order for new opportunities. Cancer rising. So this becomes about expressing yourselves, your words, your communication, taking that power and putting it into your voice, okay? So with Uttara Phalguni, I'll be honest, it's not like a chatty nakshatra placement. They'll talk when they feel the need to talk, but they're not like here to have a million and one different conversations going all the time. They're better at listening and observing. So you may even find yourself doing that with this new moon, where you're just taking in information and you are just gathering your thoughts in order to further yourself better in the future, whether that is doing some research, whether that is you improving on a skill, whether that is you being like, oh, you know what? I've always wanted to play guitar, because Uttara Phalguni does have this connection to guitars. I don't know, it just came up a lot during research, where a lot of them just kind of found themselves playing guitars or being drawn to that instrument, that or pianos, okay? But it definitely becomes about a creative skill for some of you, investing yourself in creativity and expressionism and your own personal individuality through what you have to say. So whenever you choose to speak, you're going to choose to speak with meaning, and you're going to choose to speak with clarity in order to get to the point. Okay, so you don't want to really waste your time with this transit. This is all about having very clear communication skills at this time. It doesn't sound like the most fun transit, but like it's very helpful and beneficial to you in the future. I will say, in terms of romance, this becomes about putting a little bit more efforts into your romantic life. Okay, even it can become about building up your self-confidence and self-worth. Leo, this is happening in your second house, where you can find yourself spending more money towards things you enjoy. Okay, with this sun rule placement, sun rule people usually, I'm not gonna say they're good or bad with money. Okay, with this placement, it's more has to do with, like I said, they like to spend the money. Uttara Phalguni likes that money to be put to good use. It's not just going to just sit there and then, have no fun and just be in your bank account with your savings just stacking up. It may be there, but you got to be spending it as well. They like to put it out into the world. It becomes about that cycle of let's spend some money, let's get the economy flowing, let's get these things moving. So this can become about, spending a little bit more of your coin this time, okay? As well as just enjoying things that you value, okay? Whether that is you valuing going for a run, or you valuing hanging out with friends, or you just valuing hanging out with your family, whatever it is, it's just saying, I want to do more of this, okay? Or maybe you value intelligence because the sun is coming into your second house, so it can sort of bring like this light bulb idea above your head. You're just like, oh, wait a minute, I haven't done that. That's a really good idea. Let me take note of that. Okay, I don't know why I did that, but you're just like, let me take note of that. Let me think about it. Let me just pour myself into this idea that I have. It also becomes about receiving a good amount of support from others. Uttara Phalguni is very much connected to groups, or feeling like you are part of something bigger. So they usually love to have a good amount of friends, a network circle, a good amount of people to go to. Sun rule people don't tend to like super isolation. They're not just going to be like, oh, I just have one friend and one friend in the entire world. That's usually not Uttara Phalguni people. They're very social animals, even when they're not trying to be social animals, okay? So you could just find yourself maybe eating out with friends, family, whatever, but it's really just a time to eat, drink, and be merry. If you are concerned about finances, this is actually a good time to generate more money for yourself and have more things coming in for you guys. It's just an opportunity to even gain more finances, or gain more opportunities to potentially build your finances. Like, let's say you were investing in the stock market and maybe you started looking up videos, doing research, and now you're focusing on building your own finances. Virgo, this is happening in your 4th house. So this is just a general renewal of yourself. Like this, you could be entering a new stage in your life, okay? With the sun here, it's almost like a little mini rebirth, or just entering a new period. You yourself may be even just feeling more romantic. You may even get to a point where you're feeling a little frustrated. I'm not gonna lie, because this placement can do that. You can be like, oh my gosh, I have so many concerns, I have so many worries, I gotta do something about this because this is stressing me out. This is stressing me out. I gotta make some changes. Don't be alarmed if you are feeling like you need to make some changes into your appearance, whether that's changing your wardrobe, whether that's changing how you do your hair, whether that's just saying, I want to build muscle, whatever it is that you want to do. You can just have that sudden burst of just like, I got to just make some changes to this area of my life, that area of my life. This is really affecting your entire life, Virgo. I mean, it's not like this huge thing, but it can be, okay? It depends on how sensitive you are to moon transits and etc. But this placements can sometimes make you feel like it's lonely at the top, because maybe you reach some sort of goal for yourself and you find out a lot of people just aren't in the same place as you, whether that is you going from a place where you were in a position of, I don't know, a lower position at work, and then you got a promotion and you're a higher position. Or maybe it's like you went through a divorce and now you're single, but all your friends are still married. It just makes you feel like, oh, I'm in a different position than everyone else sometimes. Not always though. At the same time, this can be a time to really light up other people's worlds, if that makes sense. Like you'll come off like as this very sun-like figure, and think about it, everyone needs sunlight, and so now it's in your first house, so you are that sunlight at this time period. So you can be very encouraging to other people, you can be very beneficial to other people, but other people can just really see you as just this powerful force at this time period. Despite how you may or may not feel about yourself, maybe you do feel confident, maybe you do feel good, maybe you just feel like a wonderful burst of energy at this time, but other people will start to sort of see your shine and see your light, and they can show some appreciation in your way and just think, wow, that person is just amazing. I just never really even thought to mention that to them. Libra, it becomes about connecting with your inner light in terms of a higher spiritual plan for yourself. So the sun is a very spiritual planet, obviously connected to the soul and your purpose and I guess a higher being. You can even just look at history where we have this sort of pattern where people tend to worship sun gods and etc. like that. So it's about just feeling this strong connection with your spirituality and feeling like you need to abide by your own moral compass and guidelines at this time. Like maybe you felt like society was pushing you in one direction. Maybe you feel like you're somebody who thinks, this may be controversial, but like they maybe you're somebody who thinks that, oh, we shouldn't be indoors at this time. We shouldn't be social distancing. We should be out and, you know, trying to practice social distancing safely. You know, we shouldn't be as confined to our homes or something like that. And you're like, I need to live by my own morals and do what's right for me instead of going by, you know, the law, what the state thinks, and etc. Another thing is you may not get much sleep. This placement can create some insomnia, staying up late, having some interruptions in sleep patterns. A lot of times this can make somebody feel like they want somebody next to them to sleep with them, because the sun and the moon are just planets that just enjoy each other's company. They're just planets that enjoy company, okay? They need that. I don't know how else to say that. You may even find yourself taking a stroll down memory lane, because with Uttara Phalguni, and other sun placements, they have very, very good and sharp memories. So you may have some sharp memories and visions coming back to you at this time. And this can bring about a feeling of a little bit of isolation, but it's really more like just an epiphany moment of an expansion of imagination. But it doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm isolated and sad. It's more like through being some time alone, I was able to create some new ideas, to explore my thoughts, to have some clarity and peace of mind. And this can also bring about needing to relocating, or feelings of just like, I need to, you know, get out of here. And this can also be a time period where you may find some secrets revealed to you, whether that's secret hidden knowledge like astrology and occult and etc. like that, or it's just maybe a friend or whoever's secret about whatever. Is this a placement of enlightenment? So Scorpio, this is happening in your 11th house, so you can find yourself wanting to expand your social media influence or social network influence. Maybe you want to get those follows, maybe you want to get those likes, whatever it is, or maybe you want to start your own YouTube channel. Maybe you want to, I don't know, start your own, OnlyFans, whatever it is you want to do. I'm not here to judge you. Gain more views, following, whatever it is. You can just gain more attention at this time, or you can push yourself to try to gain more attention, okay? And this also becomes about wanting to generate more money for yourself, more income for yourself. So even maybe you have some surprise income. Granted, this is less surprise income and more about the work that you put in towards things. So maybe you surprise yourself with the income that you make at this time. Maybe you get some sort of bonus. Maybe you guys are very, very lucky, but at the same time, this can create a very busy social life at the moment. Maybe more people are trying to meet up with you. Maybe they're trying to Zoom call you, whatever it is. It just brings a buzz towards your network circle, and it causes you to want to just break free and let loose and be more sociable at this time. It's just one of those transits that just do it, okay? This can also make you feel like you have more obligations towards your network circle or your friends as well. And the same time, this can make it feel like you are competing with other people, which would make sense if you are very highly active in social media, where you maybe feel like you're competing for followers and stuff. And for other people who maybe they have an, different situation with friends than they would like, maybe this can bring about more competition amongst friends. Obviously there's good competition and there's bad competition. It's going to depend on the individual and their life and their chart, right? But either way, you're just more excited to hear from others. Maybe even yourself will want to reach out and feel like just a spark has been ignited when you are talking to more people as well, and the focus becomes on having a certain lifestyle or a certain position of authority, or feeling like maybe even you just get a title or a sense of respect from other people as well, because the sun does come, just wants that respect. It's like, hey, look what I did, guys. Respect. Sagittarius, for some, this can be about purging things, okay? Or just feeling like you need to drop stuff that makes you irritated at work, okay? For you, Sagittarius, it's good because it does make you shine at this time. It makes you really stand out and have other people see what exactly it is that you do at your company and at your job and the work that you put in. But at the same time, it can make it feel like maybe your bosses are a little bit stiff or a little bit irritating because, like I said, Uttara Phalguni has this connection when it comes to being frustrated with authority or frustrated with the task and things that are thrown at you, or feeling like the work that you put in is not what you should be receiving back. Like you're playing by all the rules, but things just aren't fair and aren't adding up. So it can, for some, create that frustration at this time, only because the sun wants to burn out anything that is toxic and just not true to the reality that you want and deserve, okay? But either way, you'll be focusing on gaining more control and power and more influence out there in the world. And not only that, but the sun really makes you stand out because it's the highest point of the chart. You can think of it, usually when people have the sun in their 10th house, they're born around noon, and that is the highest point of the sun in the sky. Like that's usually the hottest part of the day. So it becomes like, whoa, you really stand out, okay? Like it's really showing, you're really coming up, like your creativity is being put out there in the world and we really can't ignore it, okay? Like we see you. All right, so not only that, but it can become a little bit about biting your tongue just to make sure you don't step on your own foot. But it really does, people really just won't see you sweat at all. Even if you're just like the most nervous person when it comes to work, job, trying to achieve your goals, people just won't see that at this time. They'll just see like, wow, what a beautiful person who, or maybe even a person who just, who seems like they have a lot of boss energy, okay? Just very focused on getting your goals done. You're a little bit one-track minded at this time. This is a good period if you want to, I don't know, really get something done, okay? Like this is a new moon. Try something new, okay? But not too new because Mars is retrograde. So, you know, try something you was previously thinking about doing, but like, but like now you have the opportunity to do so. So something you were planning on doing, just do it. Capricorn, this is in your 9th house. Wow. Okay, so this becomes about, you may not think this is connected, but it really does become about enjoying the pleasures of life. And it's because it's in one of the desire houses, which is like the 9th house. So for you guys, it becomes about just expressing those desires and wants and I don't know, just giving into those devilish natures of you Capricorn, okay? You have a lot of desires at this time period. At the same time, when the sun comes in here, it really makes you feel just very confident. It's like a confidence boost. Like I can get this done. I got this sort of, it's inspiration. That's what it is. The sun loves being in the 9th house because it feels inspired. It feels like it can get things done. It feels like everything's on its side. Everything's working out. Everything's good. I like it here. It's so wonderful here. I get to experience new things. I get to know new people. I feel smart. And then knowledge is power. Like you just feel powerful at this time, Capricorn. But at the same time, this is more like, don't get caught too much up in the ego boost, you know, don't start popping off, because that's one of the worst traits about Uttara Phalguni. Sometimes it can lead to entitlement feelings, but I have faith in you guys. I feel like you guys are just feeling yourself and you're good and you're not out here, you know, abusing power or taking advantage of people. Not my subscribers. And if you're looking for romance, this is a great time to connect to someone with a different cultural background or just somebody who's a little bit further away. It doesn't even have to be like, oh, they're in a different country. It could literally be like, if you live in America, a different state. It could even sometimes just be like, wow, that's kind of a far drive. Like they live like 2 hours away or something like that. But it happens with that. It's just anything that's out of your daily commute that would be like a little bit out of the way would be more Sagittarius energy for you, but this is very, very intense. It's just about loosening up and exploring for you at this time, as well as you can be revealed to just have a lot of knowledge just being thrown at you, just feeling like you have that higher spiritual connection, that higher sense of morality, the higher sense of right and wrong. You're like, I know what to do. I got this. I no more moral dilemmas. I know what needs to be done. I have a sense of clarity. I have a sense of direction. But it does make you a little stir crazy because, you know, we have all these restrictions going on at this time. But you'll definitely find a way to get your needs met. Aquarius, this is happening in your 8th house. So you'll be confronted with some situations that you'll be able to handle, but it will catch you off guard. For some, this becomes about feeling like you can gain strong insight into your emotional patterns. So let's say you have a pattern of going towards people who just don't treat you how you want to be treated. Now you're just looking back and be like, why do I do that? Why do I keep going after that same old thing over and over again? And now is the time to gain insight and perspective, especially since we just had that full moon and subdivision. I don't know if you guys can feel this, but having just felt like there's just been more restrictiveness and more judgment on the actions of other people if they aren't going by the norm that you're supposed to be doing during this time period, like the normal behaviors of keeping 6 feet or etc. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like projecting or whatever, but I just felt like that new moon subdivision, everything tightened up a little bit, okay? But anyway, it's more about having more transformative experiences and feeling like awakened and stuff. Don't mind me, I'm flipping my pages. I wrote everything down. It's about ready to shed like past hurts, finding yourself a new romantic connection, but just like a very intense romantic connection, feeling like this thing really just kind of changed you in a way, like just being like introduced to someone who's really just going to allow more emotional vulnerability from you, somebody you can potentially trust and open up to. This can bring more clarities on complicated situations. Like you might even meet someone who might be like right place, wrong time. Like maybe you're already in a relationship and then you meet someone and you're like, man, if I had just met you at this time period, it would have been perfect. But either way, you can just meet people who are a gang of people or who can give you insight into who you are as a person, your childhood, your upbringing, like I said, your emotional patterns. It's really a deep kind of transit for you guys, Aries. You're gonna have to do a little bit more reflecting, okay? But it definitely brings you a deeper insight, not only to others, but to yourself, okay? Pisces, this is happening in your 7th house. So this definitely becomes about your relationships with other people, and it doesn't necessarily have to be romantic. It's just people you invest your long-term relationships into. So this could be friendship. It's usually not family. It's usually either friendship, business partner, or romantic. At least that's what I found the 7th house to represent. But either way, this becomes about wanting to have a more excitable, fun, and lighthearted connection with the people around you, or even just with your audience. Maybe you just want to feel like if you were somebody who has an audience and you're into social media or, you know, whatever it is that you do, you may just want to be like, oh, let me relax a little bit. Like, I just want to lighten up, show them who I am, and not be so wound tight all the time. But this can also be about you putting your frustrations out there in the world, or even putting your creativity out there in the world and just saying, hey, this is me, this is who I am. It's just about showing people more about you and what makes you special, what makes you different. This can also bring about feeling like you've been a little bit burnt out by your love life, and it could be through a partner, or it could be through you know, the fact that you can't find a partner. But whatever it is, it's just the feeling of just like, man, I have been trying so hard. So sometimes it creates those feelings of frustrations, or feeling like you just aren't making the connections that you want, or maybe you're not getting the communication out of a relationship that you want to. And so now you feel like, I've got to put in that hard work. I've got to change things. I've got to be more vocal about my needs and desires, okay? But what it does is this can mainly be about purging toxic relationships. If you don't have a toxic relationship, then it obviously becomes more about you investing into bettering and or restoring a current relationship that's with you. I don't know why that was so hard. I could have just left it at current relationship. Just becomes about bettering and restoring a current relationship. Really, that's one thing. But for some people, it just brings about a renewed sense of optimism towards their love life and relationship. And then it also can bring an increase in sexual energy as well in your life. So for some, this can even just end up being like a short fling. Yeah, I mean, that covers that, right? But yeah, it's just time to open up and express yourself. And like I said, if you have a business, then this would be like throwing your creativity and your will into your business in a way that allows you to purify things that you just feel like, this doesn't work for me, I'm done with this, let's get this out of here. I want to generate more material gain from my business, okay, which is usually money for some people. For most people, it's usually money, but you know, you never know with people. Maybe they have some other material gains that they would like. So that is what I have for you about the new moon in Uttara Phalguni. I will see you guys in the next video. I'll see you next time. Au revoir.